I was supposed to change the world. And you will hear that and you think, well, no one can do that, or that might be a little arrogant, but the fact is I do know that that's what I was supposed to do. And I will prove it to you today because I can no longer stay where I am. I've I've done just the opposite. I've made myself broke because I wouldn't accept money, I wouldn't charge enough, I wouldn't get it to enough people, I wouldn't do so many things, and that's what we all do. We hide and we become fearful of becoming who we could be. Now, we don't always know what that's going to be when we come into the world. I surely didn't, but I do know now. And as I was looking at our world today, especially as I'm watching the United States and looking at Minneapolis, and I know exactly what's happening, and I've known it for a long time. I'm Roger Burnley, and I've been a coach, but I'm also a channel for Wilhelm. And I know that every single person has worth and value, but we also come into the world broken. We come into the world with trauma. We come into the world with all sorts of things that could be wrong with us individually. And then we decide if we're going to create a civilization that can sustain the planet. And I was given that work, but I kept denying it. I kept being introverted and hidden. And I will prove it to you today because I've known what was happening. And then to sit today and watch it, and I'm holding back, and then I can't even support myself because I couldn't charge you enough money because I know I have something that could change anyone's life and it could change our world. But I have built in trauma like you do. Like I couldn't be this much. I couldn't have possibly done this. I'm 75 years old. I've healed everything in my life. I've gone through so much trauma. I've witnessed everything that has happened in our world and the changes that have gone on. And I knew that. And I've also studied history. Not by my own making, but I was guided to do that. I was sent to do that. And I kept being said I was sent here to this earth to change the world. And that would be by having you live your best life and move through any difficulty, any trauma, so that you could have a productive career and contribute to our community and our society. That's what happened. But let me read you this first so you'll know that what I'm talking about. We'll start here first. In 2015, I was told to go to Wikipedia and look up the word demagogue. I'd never done that before, didn't know why I was doing it, but here it is. A popular leader, mob leader from ancient Greek, a populace, leading, guiding, a rabble-rouser is a political leader in a democracy who gains popularity by arousing the common people against the elites, especially through oratory that whips up the passions of crowds, appealing to emotion by scapegoating out groups, exaggerating dangers to stoke fears, lying for emotional effect, or other rhetoric that tends to drown out reasoned deliberation and encourage fanatical popularity. Demagogues overturn established norms of political conduct or promise or threaten to do so. Historian Reinhard Ludin defined demagogue as a politician skilled in oratory, flattery, and evasive in discussing vital issues, promising everything to everybody, appealing to the passions rather than the reason of the public, and arousing racial, religious, and class prejudices. A man whose lust for power without recourse to principle leads him to seek to become a master of the masses. He has for centuries practiced his profession of man of the people. He is a product of a political tradition nearly as old as Western civilization itself. Demagogues have appeared in democracy since ancient Athens. Demagogues exploit a fundamental weakness in democracy because ultimate power is held by the people. It is possible for them to give it to someone who appeals to the lowest common denominator of a large segment of the population. Demagogues have usually advocated immediate, forceful action to address a crisis while accusing moderate and thoughtful opponents of weakness or disloyalty. Many demagogues elected to high executive office have unraveled constitutional limits on executive power and tried to convert their democracy into a dictatorship, sometimes successfully. And then it didn't stop there, because I was led to look at history again. I was led to go back to look at Germany and what happened, and Hitler. I wrote an article, and they're all on my website, and they've been there for a while, because I could see exactly what was happening. But then something else came to me, and that was a connection to a greater source, a higher power that said, no, you can change this because all people are okay. But if you stay silent and keep allowing yourself to be fearful, then things don't go well, and that's what I've been doing. And so then I was given the order of the universe, so I knew what was happening, and I know what's happening in your life and what's happening in our world, but I was going to stay silent and cause myself to have all kinds of grief because I'm not owning who I am, and that's what happens for any person who does not live their life purpose, and I know every person has that. So today is still January the 23rd. Tomorrow's the 24th, and I'm going to read a message that I received in 2020 on the 24th, because there is an order and I downloaded it all. I've published documents, but most people wouldn't have read them or seen them, and I kept it hidden because it didn't make sense to me and wouldn't make sense to many others until we start seeing things falling apart and people are afraid. And that's what I've been doing, and I've got to stop it now. So this is the message that came through that day. January 24th, 2020. How to understand your life. We must say Roger and we are incredibly excited to bring you this message. It is taking a while for Roger is attempting to formulate the words for deeper understanding. You each move through your lives with what feels like never-ending questions as to why you had certain experiences, why you were born with your body, and why you were placed in these circumstances. Most times, these questions do not seem as if the answers are readily available until they are. That last sentence was placed in that riddle form for a reason. Your entire lives will feel like riddles to you until you accept that it is all purposeful and that there are no accidental events or occurrences. You find a bit of solace in attempting to ease the fears of that which you do not understand, which phrases as God's work in mysterious ways. You allowed those mysterious ways. There is far too much information coming through for one sitting, so we will use one story to illustrate the point. Yesterday, Roger had one appointment at the end of the day which was scheduled as a consultation. Roger knew this person had a consultation previously, and he wanted to cancel this appointment as Roger thought this person was trying to get a free session. Then Roger, being as in tune as he sometimes can be, he thought there was another reason. When Roger began the session, he said, "Why are you here?" The client said how much Roger had helped them before, but wanted to speak to him now as they felt Roger was a mystic. This time Roger accepted that label with knowingness. Then the client went on to explain that living isolated on acres of farm in a remote area of Canada, there were not many there could share their emerging and always known spiritual awakening. Now Roger could see his life's journey was designed perfectly to fulfill his life's purpose. It is the same for each of you. Now you understand your life. And I've done that for years. And it's allowed me to understand everything going on in healing and all, except telling you and telling everyone. I just held back. And that's how we lose our lives, and we lose our world, and we lose our country, and that's what's happening. But there's more. Wilhelm explained to me exactly why it was happening. They're energetic shifts, they're galactic shifts that happen throughout our world, and I've been given all that information. And why the United States, why this was happening, is because the planet Pluto was moving, and this is where we are now, and then we will have reckoning. We have to look at things. And they said the United States founded itself on the idea of being free and equal for all. But that didn't happen. And then we can kind of get lost because we get brainwashed. And we get brainwashed by money. And that's exactly what's happened. And they told me that we would be fooled by the money, and these billionaires would tell us that they were going to give us everything, and then they're only to take over, and that's gone on for centuries as well. That's what has happened. And I was supposed to be that billionaire, but I kept hiding out because I couldn't charge enough money for my work or appreciate who I was, and that's the same for most of us. And that's what I'm changing now. And I just had to put this out. And there is no way that anyone, people will come and listen to this and have all kinds of judgment, and that will be you bumping into your limitations, because I had to do the same thing. And I had to deal with everything that was within me. That's what I had to move through. I had to move through my racism and misogyny because I had to recognize that it was there. It affects every single person. But then I end up with a philosophy that could change anyone's life and change our world, because we move through all of those limiting behaviors and thoughts and ideas and live great lives and create a great world. That's what I'm doing. So this is why I said that I have to change things, because I know many people aren't going to come in and do this work, and I can't survive that way. I know that you can live this great life and we could change everything. But I just been hiding out, and you might have been doing it too. Can no longer do that. But thank you for being here and listening. And many of you, some of you might decide that you're going to take that next leap, because that's what I'm doing now. But I'll leave the information for you. See you soon.